Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Note to Self podcast. I'm Natalia, and today we are starting our special series where we invite student leaders onto our podcast. And today we are invited by the MENA Club at Ohlone.
Woo!
Before we get started, I'd like everyone to introduce themselves. So, can you all please share with us your name, your major, and your club position within MENA? I'll go first. Of course, I'm not in the MENA Club, but I will say that I am a student ambassador for Ohlone Health Center, and I am a business major, and I'm in my second year here at Ohlone.
Hi everyone, my name is Mariam. I'm the president and founder of the MENA Club. We actually started our club just last semester. My major is business administration.
And I'm Jusuf. I'm also second year at Ohlone, and my major is computer science. I'm the treasurer for MENA.
So before we get into our discussion, I'd like to just ask a general check-in question. This is just a way for us to get to talking. And the check-in question for today is, what is one thing you love and appreciate from your culture?
You go first.
All right. One of the bigger things is when it comes to language. So one of the big things you notice about English and when you compare it to Arabic is the difference in how you approach people. So when you see someone on the street that's your friend, hey, how are you doing? Things like that, right? In Arabic, you say there's a lot of kind of like honorifics almost, where it's very respectful, very uplifting, where it's like, oh, we'll say, for example, if you're a Muslim, you'll say assalamu alaikum, right? And that means like peace be upon you, things like that, right? And sometimes I'll throw in like words like yeah tayyib, which means like either they're calling you good or like in general like referring to you as a good person, things like that, where these very uplifting honorifics every time you interact with someone, regardless of whether it's meant to be uplifting or not. It's when you're, especially if you're traveling in Arabic in a country that speak Arabic, it's really nice. It's a cool like change of pace as you just walk around, people talk to you like that even if they don't know you. It's kind of cool.
I actually agree. Like qalbi means like my heart, like qalbi, or like ayuni means like my eyes. Like they kind of sound weird in English translation, but it just means like form of like endearment. Yeah, right. You're supposed to agree.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Of course, I was just waiting for you to answer the questions.
Okay, so for my thing, one thing that I love, I think of how proud people are, like from where they're from. Like I feel like for anywhere, but like for example, if you're from Yemen or if you're from Palestine, they will always be like so proud of their country. They're like fighting for their country or like supporting their country. That's a huge thing. And also, our food is very very good. Like Yemeni food is top notch.
What's your favorite Yemeni dish?
I love fahsa, which is like, hey, don't look at me like that. But fahsa is like a meat kind of dish. But there's also this other dish called sabaya, which is like this like flaky kind of dough. There's like many layers. It's really really good. You eat it. It's like a dessert. You eat it with honey. That's really good. Yeah.
Thank you both for sharing. I think for my culture, I'm half Puerto Rican, half Mexican, and especially within Latino culture, we're very much party people. We love throwing celebrations, and that's something that I really appreciate about my culture. Just like the liveliness and the vibrancy. And I think I'm a little bit more in tune with my Puerto Rican side. But I just really love the people and how warm they are and very outgoing, very enthusiastic. So I definitely say those are some of the best parts or the highlights within my culture. So, in today's episode, the MENA Club will help us understand the intersections of culture and health within the Middle Eastern and North African community. And our conversations will focus on core values and traditions and how they affect the way that the Middle Eastern North African community views mental health. So, before we get into our topics, first I'd like to talk a little bit more about the amazing Club MENA and to ask our president, can you please share a brief description of your club? This includes your club's purpose, the targeted population that it represents, as well as any activities and events. And Yusuf, if you want to share as well.
Yay!
I'll, uh,
Okay.
I'll chime in from time to time randomly.
Okay, guys, so I'm actually really excited to talk about this. So the brief description of our club is it's called Middle Eastern North African. That's the acronym for MENA. Basically, what it means is that it's a certain region of like Middle East and North Africa, which consists of around 19 Arab countries. So I know a lot of people get confused with like North Africa or Middle Eastern, but they're kind of like the same. They're kind of like the same thing. I would like kind of say like in terms of like classifying wise. So for example, like Egypt, you would kind of classify as like a Middle Eastern Arab country, which is North Africa. A brief description. So basically, our club is kind of like a welcoming space towards the people of the MENA region, but we want people to learn about like the different culture of our basically to learn about our culture. And there exists a lot of like stigma around like Arab and Middle Eastern countries, so we're trying to break that. In terms of club targeted population, honestly, it's everyone at Ohlone campus. It's not like selected towards any like certain people. And we've had so many successful events, which is really, really amazing. We've had actually last week we had a henna night with Craft Club, which was had a lot of turnout, so we're pretty happy about that. And we have a lot of amazing events planned this month because this month is actually Arab American Heritage Month, which falls in the month of April.
Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
Honestly, no, I definitely agree. Which just we're not some sort of private exclusive club, right? Our goal is to be as opening and kind of like a social event based club for everyone. We want everyone to enjoy their time learning about any and all of our culture, and even if they're just there for the food, we're here to host you. We're here to host you guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, bro.
How would you say that you both personally identify with the MENA community?
I'm from Yemen.
Wow, that's very
It
descriptive.
literally says that shared ethnicity, bro. Read the question.
I mean, all right, sure.
So
I'll go.
basically, I'm actually mixed. I'm a mixed Yemeni. So my mom is half Mexican, half Yemeni, and my dad is half Yemeni, half Italian. So yeah, I'm actually pretty mixed.
Oh, wow.
But I identify more with my Yemeni side. A
Well,
lot of people don't know what Yemen is, by the way. It's right next to Saudi Arabia. It's a Middle Eastern country.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not. By the way, guys, can I just say something? Yemen has a really bad image, like cult, like rep.
you think-
But that's crazy. But we're not all that bad. We got some good stuff.
I think once you take the time to learn the culture more,
Yeah.
you can see that.
But that's the whole point. That's why we started this club, because a lot of Middle Easterns have, like, bad representation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm Egyptian. I'm also a little mixed. My grandmother is also Syrian, so I guess my dad's like 25% Syrian, something like that, around those numbers. But mainly just Egyptian. My mom is completely white, she's like Irish and Scottish. But I'm mainly just, there's not a lot of my family's, mainly my mom's side at least, been here since like 1800 something. So like obviously she's very American culture there. So when it comes to culturally, I very much identify as Egyptian culture, things like that. I tend to always just say, "Oh, I'm Egyptian." I don't really say anything else usually because I'm like, "Oh, I'm either saying, "Oh, I'm half white," or I'm saying I'm Egyptian." It's just much easier for me.
Yeah.
Thank you both for sharing. Now we're going to go into a little bit more of like the core values within the Middle Eastern North African community. How would you both describe some of the core values or traditions that shape the Middle Eastern North African community?
I mean, one of the biggest, of course, not the biggest, maybe it's up to debate. We're obviously not here to debate it, so I won't get too deep into it. But religion, right? The Islam being the major religion of all of the countries within the Middle East. So there's so many different, like, of course, like any religion, there's different sections and different beliefs and things like that. But overall, like it's very heavily woven into culture and tradition, just the religion of Islam in general, the mannerisms that come with that, the way you speak to people, the way you treat yourself, the way you treat other people, the way you think about things, like, is very, very influenced by that.
Would you like to share as well, Mariam?
Not sure I would agree. How would you describe it? I feel like family is a big value, like, in our community. Like, we value family. We always have, like, big family gatherings. Like, that's a pretty big, like, of course, like, Islam comes first, and then family. And I think that would be pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the whole family standpoint, we've got, we'll say cheaper by the dozen style families pretty much left and right in all the Arab countries. Everyone's got these huge families of like 8+ children, sometimes 15 kids. You're shocked. You're like, whoa, okay, wow, you guys are, wow. It's very, very interesting, but there's a lot of them. What?
Sorry, compared to like America, like American, like they only have like 2 or 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
But in Arab culture, it's very like 2 or 3 kids is like little, like.
Mm.
Yeah. think it's very similar with a lot of other cultures as well.
Yeah.
It's like,
So people
I
are
wanna say
surprised when I say I have 5 siblings. So I'm like, yeah, I have 5 siblings.
Oh. Yeah, that is a little bit on the larger side for
a little
American
bit on the other
families.
side. Yeah, I have 4.
4. It's also so
My dad has 7 siblings.
Oh wow.
6, 7. There's like 6, 7.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Not
Someone
for
put
real.
6, 7 on that.
It's not 2025 anymore, bro.
Oh, also, I forgot to mention, but we have a table decoration in front of you.
Yay!
I know our Spotify listeners won't be able to see this, but I was hoping we can describe a little bit more what this thing represents. Or is this a decoration?
Stop scrolling while you listen to us and start using your imagination.
Yeah. Would
Okay,
you
guys.
describe this as like a decoration? What is the purpose?
So it can be a decoration, but it's more like for like use, I guess you could say. So it's called bukhur, which basically
My bad. I won't be.
Can
I won't nitpick.
you say it? Bukhur.
No, not the pronunciation. So the stand itself has its own name. I don't remember fully, honestly. It was on the tip of my tongue. I was ready to say it since she brought it in the room, and now I can't remember it all, which is great, regardless. But yeah, it's meant for holding bukhur. Like, go ahead, continue, host. I was just trying to remember. My bad.
It's usually not this big. It can be like super super small, but it's called bukhur, which is basically means essence.
Incense.
So how it works, I'm so sorry for the pronunciation, but it's incense, not essence. So how it works is you heat up hot coal, and then you're not gonna put it in here. You're gonna put probably like aluminum foil so it doesn't burn the actual thing. You put aluminum foil, you put hot coal, then you put like scented wood chips, and then you put it on top, and then it creates smoke, and it makes the room smell nice.
So basically, Arab incense. It's your typical incense. You got like the whole sage thing, all these other, similar to essential
Think of
oils
like a
kind of smells.
humidifier.
Yeah.
But make it
similar
smell.
to essential oils kind of smells that you usually get from incense, and then for us it's more of a very strong scent. In Arabic, there's a specific word for it. Again, on the tip of my tongue, I cannot find it. It's fine though. But imagine like a very strong, powerful cologne kind of smell. Sometimes
Oh.
it can be similar to that. There are more gentle ones, but bukhud tends to be very strong.
Personally, for me, I don't like the really strong ones because it can be like a lot.
Yeah.
But I like the milder ones. It can be this big, but it can also be like tiny too.
Yeah, things I usually use in my house are like fit in the palm of my hand kind of thing. Because it's like you'd use these for like more
Like maybe like when you have
cool
guests
setups.
over.
You have guests over, things like
Yeah.
that, right? You want to bring out the really huge teapot and a really nice
Yeah.
before setup.
Are these used for religious purposes or just like celebration or just like in general?
We
like
usually
day-to-day
do it when guests come over to make the room smell nice.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
so
usually about just like purifying the smell in a room, things like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
doesn't hold that much religious like power, not power, but influence, I guess. It's mainly cultural.
Yeah, it's like a Middle Eastern kind of thing. Obviously, yeah. Sorry, continue.
you can keep going.
No. I like, because I know sometimes it can be like strong for it to like smell, like for certain people, like
Yeah.
sensitivity wise.
We can keep stuff in too. Thank you guys for bringing it. It's really pretty.
Yay.
And thank you for telling
Hopefully
us
it doesn't
more
look
about
goofy
what it
looking,
is.
but
I
It's
think
kinda
it
big,
decorates
but
the
it's
table
fine.
very well.
yay!
Did you also
Don't-
want to
don't drop
mention
it.
the other item that you brought?
I didn't bring
Oh.
this was
That
unrelated.
was his room last
Unrelated.
for like 2
So from our last event, she was bringing it back to me because she wanted it.
Okay. We
Do
can
you
go
wanna talk
into.
I'm ready to move forward, trust.
We can go into the
I'm curious about the next
now.
stuff.
So thank you all for explaining some of your core values and traditions within your community. Now I'd like for us to discuss further the views of mental health within the MENA community. I know mental health is a very stigmatized topic across all cultures and various generations as well, and I was hoping that we can kind of dive in deeper about like what that means within your community by sharing your personal experiences. So, how is mental health generally viewed within your community, particularly across different generations and with immigrant family dynamics? And then our other little question that you can dive into as well is, would you say that mental health is a stigmatized topic in your community? And if so, what factors contribute to that stigma?
This is a heavy topic. Who's gonna start?
Who would have guessed? I mean, in general, it's very similar to a lot of other cultures' general idea for it, where if you start from the whole, oh, you don't need to speak about it, like deal with it on your own kind of thing, where there's like, let's say, speaking from my perspective as a guy in general, the very, very stereotypical kind of rustic opinion of toughen up, that get thicker skin, be a man kind of thing, right? Oh, something happened to you, but what are you gonna do about it, right? You don't need to worry about that. You don't need to linger. Just move on, toughen up, don't think about it. The very classic, overarching, bottle it up kind of thing that is very common in most cultures is really, really pushed. Like you can, it's not like people tell you, obviously, keep it in, but it's very, you can tell that if you were to try and open up in a room, usually amongst the more, how can I say this, classic Arab uncles, they will immediately be like, oh, they're staring at you all weird, they're judging you. You can, it's very obvious. Like,
Yeah.
overall, I think a good way to say it might be that it's viewed as emotional release is viewed as disgraceful in a way, where it's like, oh, you're making a fool of yourself. Oh, you're doing something that is either A, inefficient, or B, unhelpful or illogical. And one of the bigger things is that a lot of Arabs will say something similar to that, like word for word almost, things that have been said to me similarly like that before, like where it's like, oh, this isn't the smart approach, or oh, this isn't the best approach. I'm like, yeah, obviously it's not the best approach, right? When you're, I don't know, something happens in your life, you lose some family member, something like that, and it breaks you, and you're down on your knees, you're crying, you're praying, something like that, right? And someone walks in the room, and to their perspective, that seems disgraceful to them. It's very sad. Because sorry, why would you want to, I guess, look down upon that? Is a question I would usually pose to someone like that, but it's very common. It's very common, and think the main reason is like, oh, you're not going to move forward, go anywhere. But emotional release is healthy. You need that. You need to be able to kind of let loose a little bit, not in a rage kind of way, but in a, oh, your emotions need to come out somewhere, because if they don't come out, you're gonna keep going up until you explode.
I would say mental health is a stigmatized topic just because it's not something that's really normalized, and it's also super awkward to like cry in front of like one of your family members. And I think sometimes too, especially when you're emotional, you don't know how to handle like your emotions. So it why are you laughing?
Nothing. Just was a redundant.
So like that makes sense. If you're emotional, you don't really like, especially because we're still young, so we're still like going through like phases and like mood swings. So I think it's also hard too, especially when you have people that don't really understand that, and they're trying to like, when it's not really normalized. And yeah.
Going into like mental health in a different way, where it's like not when you're struggling with emotions, things like that, but when it goes to like, let's say, neurodivergence, things like that. Arabs are very funny about that. Neurodivergence.
Oh.
Arabs are very funny about that, like ADHD, autism, things like that.
Yeah.
Where in a way they basically tell you it doesn't exist, like word for word. I have been often told that, oh, it's just in your head. So I have ADHD, obviously. I mean, I feel like it's obvious, but regardless, I was diagnosed like 2010. Regardless, one of the big things that I've almost been told word for word by one of my grandparents was like, "Oh, it's not real. It's all just kind of in your head." And I was like, "Yes, that's quite the point. Yes, that is that. Yes, it's mental. It's
so
here.
True.
It is in my head, but it's not like I can just snap my fingers. There it goes. I'm suddenly very self-regulated, and I know exactly how to manage my time, and I can remember everything. Like, you know what I mean? It's a very very interesting thing. Most Arabs will say the same thing. They're like, "Oh, it's just all in your head. Just get rid of it." I'm like, "What do you mean, get rid of it?" It's funny.
Is there anything else you'd say within your community, like, I guess values-wise, that would influence how people perceive mental health or how they approach mental health and conversations about it?
I think it's definitely not talked about enough. So it does feel super awkward like talking about it, and that sometimes, especially when you don't know how to handle your emotions and you're not really talking to it about anyone, it can lead to like generational like stigma. So even like, for example, like now, like the future generations, like my kids, or they're not, if I don't know how to talk to it about with my children, like, you know what I mean? I don't know, guys, why? Hey, stop, bro!
No, I know what you mean, for sure.
Struggling.
Sorry,
If you
did I call my
can't,
child it? Oops, my bad. But like, you guys know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not having like habits built by like, which kind of makes sense. Think about it. Like, our parents' maybe the reason why they're like that is because their parents told them things. So obviously, it just gets in your brain. Like, retrain.
One of the big things when it comes to like when you're in a bad headspace or when you're struggling with something, and you hear something like that from your parents, right? Oh, it's in your head, or oh, get over it, or oh, toughen up, things like that, and you want to be extremely angry at them. You want to be like, sometimes you'll feel hateful about it, things like that. One of the worst things, like, it's one of the worst and best feelings things, not the best feeling, it's the best thing to be feeling in that moment, but it feels the worst. And what I mean by that is the reminder that they're human too, and they're kind of living their life for the first time.
Yeah.
It's not like they've lived a life before. They haven't experienced this all before. Every day they're going forward. They didn't experience today before. It's not like this is something old to them and they're able to automatically regulate and automatically do this and automatically do that. They're not geniuses. They're not omnipotent. They have, of course, they're humans as well. But when you're in, when of course, it's so difficult to get to that headspace because it's the worst feeling ever. It's like, oh, this person is causing this much stress for me. This. They're telling me these things that I know aren't true, but it's still getting in my head, and I can't. You can't be mad at them for that too. Like you should. It's healthy to be, but at the same time, like your emotions are healthy and they're valid, but you also know that you have to realize that yeah, they're human too. They're living life for the first time, and they probably didn't have what we have now, right? Let's be honest. What 30 years ago, 25 years ago, mental health was talked about 10,000 times less than it is now, right? We didn't bring attention to it at all. Everyone was just struggling on their own.
Yeah.
I know we kind of mentioned a little bit about like cultural values. So I was wondering how have the cultural perspectives that you guys shared or within the community you're in, how have they shaped your own understanding of mental health and emotional well-being?
I think, like we've talked about this before, but actually in our last meeting, but how I think if my mom is kind of saying like, oh, it's always that phone, it's always that phone. So I don't really know if it's my feelings are actually like valid or if it's just other outside factors that are just nowadays. Does that make sense? So I think it's kind of hard to kind of like if like I don't know how to explain it, but I think I've kind of done
No, I get what you mean. Like you
Girl,
don't
he was done. Sorry,
you don't
guys.
feel validated.
I'm not laughing at
sometimes
the stuff, or I'm
because-
laughing at that.
Like I think
But, like-
parents across a lot of like
Yeah.
even like my parents sometimes
Because
they
it's so
always
hard
mention the
because
phone.
then it's like they're not gonna like actually be like, oh, you know, like if we like, imagine if we didn't live without a phone, then they would maybe more they wouldn't be able to find a blame on something. If that makes sense.
I mean, to use his point about like it's all in your head, that's like another way that
Yeah.
they might not like really pay attention to how you're feeling.
Exactly. So it's kind of like awkward to even talk about anything with that.
Yeah.
I think at first for me, I was really, really like just wrapped up in the very deal with it yourself kind of thing. Going into high school, I'm not going to go into details obviously, but I had a lot going on in my life throughout my life. And going into high school was very in the, you got to deal with it, man. That's your problem. You're going to deal with it yourself. No one else can fight your fight for you. No one's coming to save you. Go figure it out. And that was kind of the mindset that I was surrounded by for so long. So for me, it was just, yeah, go get it done. And went through high school just as like we go into COVID, things get worse. We go here, things getting worse. And just started out, ended up like completely messing up the way I thought about mental health. So I went from, and it took me a minute. Like my junior year, senior year was finally when I started to finally, goodness, started
Put
to
that.
finally, I said farted too Steinley.
Put that on the thumbnail.
Regardless, started to
Farting.
finally like think about it and feel like okay, maybe I should be mentioning these things to someone, and
Yeah.
opened up to like one of my closest friends at the time for the first time, opening up to almost anyone ever since like my own mother, and it was a huge 180. It went from this whole my bad, bro.
They had something else.
It's slurred my words. Oh dear, what did I do before this podcast? But wow, okay, no way. It's almost as if
You
that
have
was
to cut
implied.
that part out.
It took a lot of effort to like make the 180 over years where it was like, oh wait, no, these are things I can talk about. Like it was you have to give yourself permission to talk about it. No one else is going to be able to force you to say something.
Yeah.
No one can make you open up. It has to be a conscious realization of your own. I mean, it can be influenced. You can be influenced into making that decision, but no one can make it for you. No one's going to be able to make you fully say what's going on in your life and what you need. Because if you don't advocate for what you need in that moment, you're just, again, like going back down to that whole spiral. It's like, oh, I need this. I can't get it. what do I do? But I can't get it without talking to someone else. And immediately, oh, withdraw. I'm terrified. They're going to judge me. They're going to do something. And you no longer, you're not getting what you need, and it's just getting worse.
I think also too, like being a girl
Sorry,
is
keep going off on a tangent. Sorry.
okay. You're taking on the spotlight. No, I'm just kidding. But I feel like for being like I've talked about this, but like being a girl is very different than being a guy in like a Arab household. So for Steven, he agrees. Like there's a lot more like stricter like boundaries and just like a lot of like I feel like kind of unnecessary things that have just been put on women versus men in terms of like thankfully we live in a newer generation where there's like schooling, but like if I lived in Yemen, you know, I wouldn't be able to go to school, get married young. So I think there's a lot of like different cultural norms that also play with your mental health. So that's a pretty big deal. Yeah.
I actually completely agree. I have 3 younger sisters and a fourth due in April, so hey. Well, half sister, but it's fine. Regardless, I say regardless a lot, don't I? I've said that too many times. It's almost like the amount of times you say like. Regardless.
Do I say that?
Quite a bit. Anyways,
You're banned from
when it comes to the things you would think men and women are allowed to do, it's very different in family household. Like for me, I could pop up at my house like 3 a.m. sometimes, but I'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, and he's extremely strict about many, many other things, and to an extreme in many ways. But when it comes to me just going out and doing anything, whether it's at night or doing anything in general, heck, I could come home today at midnight and be like, "Hey, blah blah, how are you doing?" And he would say, "Assalamu alaikum, how was your day?" But if my sister comes home at maybe 8, 9, yo, where were you? What's going on? Were you at class? Were you in an event? Getting like just getting grilled completely,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
so
just,
hard.
and it's one of the big. And to be fair, to be a little fair, sometimes it's valid, right? For example, you're on a university campus or walking the streets to get to your car at night. Yeah, to be realistic, it's a little unsafe, less safe for women on the streets at night because guys are well.
Guys.
No, guys, men in general, unfortunately, commit crimes against women a lot more than the opposite. So, while it's slightly understandable, it has more to do with cultural perspective than actual concern for safety. And so it just comes to these huge boundary lines being drawn on women very often and these expectations that are very different than men. And yeah, men have
I
similar
was
things
gonna
as
say
well.
joke, but then I was like, you know, gotta keep
Men
it
have similar
professional.
things as well when it comes to being like a provider or anything like that, but those boundaries aren't as how can I say restricting as they are for women,
Yeah.
because me being able to go out and do whatever the heck I want with with my friends, knowing that my family trusts me enough to know, oh yeah, this kid's not going to go do anything wrong, he's too much of a nerd, is very different than my sisters not being able to do a lot of things that I can go do, and my dad wouldn't bat an eye.
It definitely does play with your mental health because it's like, you know, if you constantly have like a lot of restrictions, it does like play with your mind. It's like kind of annoying like that. I think like a lot of like restrictions like being a girl or just even being like and like a just like an Arab like you know child in general especially coming from like cultural like families even my mom was like you know when I was growing up my dad didn't like let me go out with my friends, you know what I mean? So she kind of like play so she's kind of saying like, you know, like I do give you free. So I think in her mind it's like freedom, but in reality it's like a lot of restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if that made sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Okay,
definitely
yeah.
makes sense.
What was I about to say?
I feel like I had something else I wanted to say too.
One of the big things I've heard a lot from my sister is 18, so she's like almost 2 years younger than me, and one of the things I'll hear her say a lot is that it makes her feel like my dad values my opinion more than hers,
Mm.
where she feels like I carry more importance in our household or in our family in general just because I'm a guy. And to be fair, I am a little bit older than her, so maybe that might be the case. Might actually be the case because of that, but in a way, it's not the wrong conclusion. It's just what it can feel like. You know what I mean? It's not that he's saying he values her opinion less, but unfortunately, culturally, it's very common for that to actually be the case, or it to feel like you matter less, your opinion matters less, because, oh, you're simply a woman.
That's kind of sad.
It is. I've heard my sister say it a lot. Like, it's not something she says very little. Like, she says it a lot of the time where it's like, oh, I feel like it just, my opinion doesn't matter as much as yours. And it's kind of sad to hear that. Like, as much as annoying or frustrating my younger siblings can be, it's a little depressing to realize that they end up seeing themselves sometimes as below my opinion in a way, because I don't want them to feel like that. I don't want them to think that I view their opinion as any less than mine, right? Like, for example, let's say I'm helping my sister out with her math homework. I don't want her to think that I'm some superior coming here. I want her to think that I'm someone here to guide her while I'm helping her math homework, right? And obviously that's a very small example, but that's more for like one of my younger siblings, like the one like 10 or 11 year olds that I have.
So you can start.
How do I start from the beginning? I wish mental health was normalized because it it genuinely does make you feel like a weirdo, like genuinely like a weirdo or like a black sheep. Um, because it's like, is everyone else going through this? Like, if you're ever like really like genuinely really depressed and like crying, and you don't really have anyone to talk to because mental health isn't that normalized within like culture wise. So I do really wish it was like normalized because then you actually have someone to.
Like a lot again.
So you have someone to talk to about it, and then not like actually have someone to talk to because
It can be isolating. For sure.
yeah, for sure.
Are you guys noticing any shifts in attitudes regarding mental health among younger generations, like our
100%.
generation?
Definitely. There's there's of course a lot more awareness among younger generations. Ours maybe the one like maybe a few years older than us, but also surprisingly I have seen some on the older side of the generations also be like, oh yeah, wait, this actually, like my dad for example was the one who told me about correcting yourself when you made a mistake, when that you made a mistake instead of calling yourself, which is, I will say, a little ironic, but considering who he is in general, regardless, like his whole generation was the ones who were always like, "Oh yeah, depression, get over it." Many times was my own father telling me, "Oh, get over it. Like you just gotta go toughen up, deal with it." And then also years later being the one to tell me, "Well, you gotta work on your self talk." And it was kind of funny to hear that coming from, whoa, did my dad just tell me he's my dad really?
I'll tell him
Like
to watch this podcast.
it's a very what?
Tell him to watch this podcast.
Respectfully, nothing. Again, I'm gonna catch myself, but nonetheless, how about that? We'll use a new one. It's just very surprising. It is surprising when you do see someone on just not the older side, as in like, walking boy cane, but on the older side of things like 30s, 40s, who are a lot more aware, especially adults, because you don't expect it from them, especially the ones that were telling you to toughen up or to just deal with it, and then they come back later, which kind of annoys you a little bit sometimes too, where it's like, oh, you're coming back later, tell me to work on my self-talk.
Somebody once told me that they were like, "Oh, I think mental health should be normalized," and I kind of was like, "Oh, I feel like she just said that just like because she knew that it
To
would
be hip.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Like to be relatable to you.
Yeah, kind of like relatable, but in reality, she's just like, "Oh yeah, I think mental health should be normalized," but even though she really doesn't think that.
But at least there is some improvement in thought, or at least in
Yeah, I
your
mean,
experience.
it's surprising, but how can I say, dial back to speaking on younger generations, it's definitely very, very, how can I say this? Again, we're on camera. It's very normalized amongst our generation's adults, at least compared to how it was before, right? I don't find many people around my age who would say, "Oh, mental health doesn't matter." There are still some, of course, right? Especially in the Arab countries themselves, but it's maybe motivating to know that a lot of people are actually awake about it, especially because it's not like this is some new battle.
If you guys wanted to expand, what changes or conversations would you like to see more of within your community around health and wellness? Or specifically mental health.
I feel like
If you say awareness, I'm gonna laugh.
awareness, nonetheless, but I feel like, listen, like again, I feel that mental health should be normalized. Not for it to be awkward if you're crying, and then to actually talk about your feelings, because sometimes when you talk about your feelings, it makes more sense when you talk it out versus it just being all like mumbo jumbo in your head. Talking about it with someone I think is super duper important. So having someone you can count on, whether it's like a sister, like your mom, or like anyone, that's really important. For it to be normalized, like I said, and I think to give like better responses than just like, oh, go pray more, or oh, you should be grateful, or you should be, because they'll, like, especially when you're down, that's not gonna really help you.
It's just invalidating.
Yeah.
I think in terms of
Or toughen
specific
up.
conversations, one thing I would love to do, can't do, but would love to do, is like an AA group.
AA group? Oh, yeah.
Like
So
for alcohol?
Alcohol Anonymous.
no, for potatoes. Yes, alcohol. What?
It took me a minute to register that.
Anyways, I'd love to like AA group style sit today's adults around in a little circle and have very specific conversations with them. One, what is depression? Let's describe that. I want them to understand it, right? A lot of them don't know. Like what I mean by they don't know is they know depression exists. I know it means you're sad, but they don't exactly know what actually it is chemically, what it is, what you're feeling in those moments, what is a descriptive way to make them understand, right? How can they be more empathetic, right? That's one big conversation I'd love to have with well, not today's adults, I'll say, because we are technically adults, but with today's unks, let's say. How about
Maybe
that?
maybe we need it too, since we're
Maybe we need it too. Yeah, I mean, it
for our
does.
future
There's
kids.
no age limit, right? There's no restriction on age. Whether you're 12 or 55, please come join this conversation. Like everyone should be aware. Everyone needs to know. When then we can move on to neurodivergence or move on to specific areas of mental health. Had these like I said, AA kind of like discussions or what we call open circle discussions, right? Where you just sit around and you have a very open-ended discussion, right? Someone gives you a prompt and you all chime in. And the point of that isn't, oh, we're going to educate them like it's a class. No, we also want them to contribute. The reason for this isn't because, oh, they're going to know off the bat and they're going to immediately know what it is just because they stepped into a circle. The reason is because if they hear other people talking about it, they'll be A, more curious to explore themselves, and B, they'll actually hear some things from the conversation host and other people who are experiencing it that may kind of guide them towards that, oh, here's what's actually going on.
Also, creating a better bond with your child, I think, is really important. So, like, actually taking the time to sit down with them and, like, connect with them is really important. And I think our time's up.
Oh,
is it?
We have one more question, then we'll go into our
Okay.
conclusion. So, what advice would you give to students who may be navigating similar cultural dynamics when it comes to their mental health?
Consult peers. I'll say it again and again and again. Consult your peers. Consult your peers. Consult your peers. You gotta have.
I feel like everyone
group.
says that, though.
Yeah, everyone says that, but you need to remind every once in a while.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things is no matter how many times you say it, like I said earlier, when it comes to no one else is gonna do it but you. No one can make decisions but you. Consult your peers, please. Your friends, your cousins, heck, right? Your siblings. Doesn't matter who it is. Someone usually of similar age is the best. In my opinion, at least, right? They'll be more understanding of your issues, things like that, whatever you're going through. Please consult your peers. It doesn't have to be someone you know that well. You can go to any classmate, like probably or professor, and be like, hey, want to be like friends or want to exchange numbers, things like that. And over time, you make a new friend, you learn, and heck, trauma bond if you have to, right? Like, and just those kinds of things they're hard, but they're so beneficial and you never realize it. Like having a tight knit group of people you can go to and be like, guys, I need to talk. I need something. Like, please consult your peers. It's just how I'll end that.
I would say, for me, obviously, like, have someone you can count on, but if you don't, I think write it down or, like, record yourself so you can look back at it, in, like, months or, like, years or whatever, and talk about it with someone, which is really important. Write it down or, like, videotape yourself or however you want to do it. And then I was gonna say something else. Keep yourself busy. I think that's really important. So, like, don't let yourself, like, lose yourself in your thoughts. That's really important. So, like, just keep yourself busy. I think that's a really important one.
My friend is calling me. He's like, we're supposed to be going to the skate park right now. Where are you?
We're recording this podcast. Thank you both for sharing, and you provided a lot of great insight. You provided a lot of great insight as to the perspectives that individuals within the MENA community share around mental health, and just also general values that the MENA community also experiences. So to wrap up our podcast, I'd like to have some space where we can talk about like one takeaway that we've gained through this episode, through our conversations. This can just be like something that you want to keep in mind in the future. Just something short as well.
All right, short and sweet.
Like, can I just start over, bro? So
okay,
I take
blah,
it.
blah, blah, you finish
Okay,
the sentence.
a takeaway that I would like to take away is normalizing mental health is really important. And then also I think, especially for me, since it's not normalized within my space, kind of rewiring myself so that the future generations are impacted by generational trauma.
Mm-hmm. I think something that I learned through your guys' experiences is that sometimes we may assume that the older generation may have like very negative views about mental health, and that may be true as well. But also how you shared like some older generations, they also are a little bit more open to conversations, and I think especially like talking to your peers, having those conversations with people of all ages, not just like people our age, just educating them and also holding space for like them to talk about stuff as well, and sharing their perspectives is also something that I definitely will keep in mind from our conversations.
Yeah.
So just to end off everything, is there or how can students stay connected to the MENA Club at Ohlone and receive updates about upcoming events?
Okay, so guys, follow us on Instagram, MENA Ohlone.
Wow, very descriptive.
Check
And,
out our
you
link
can
tree.
check our link tree. Yeah, we have a
Check out
Discord.
our link tree. We have
Discord,
this
guys.
Discord, and you can follow us on Instagram.
Mhm.
And we also have a new member form if you're interested in following it. But if you follow our Discord, you should be able to receive updates and Instagram.
And we can link the stuff in the description box. as
Yeah,
well.
link down below. Smash that like button.
What is
Hey.
this, bro?
Any upcoming events
Follow
for
Step Up on
next month?
YouTube.
Oh yeah, follow Step Up as well.
Follow Step Up and follow Step Up Ohlone at Instagram.
Do you guys have any upcoming events?
Yes, we do.
Maybe
do,
in the next
but
few
We have
weeks.
so
the
many,
next few
bro.
weeks, because this isn't posting until Monday, so no need to mention tomorrow's event.
Yeah, maybe not.
Okay,
too
okay.
much.
So we actually have a lot of events coming up. So we have
April 29th.
So we actually have so many events, guys. So we have a Debka and Atan workshop, which is basically Debka is a dance, like an Arabic dance, and Atan is a Afghan dance. So we're going to be collabing with the Afghan Student Association next week. Then we have a spring solstice. It's going to be collaboration with a lot of cultural events on the 23rd. Then we have hopefully we have a art night in collab with Craft Club. I haven't told you about that yet. I just found that.
Thanks. Yeah, not the
gonna be
co-founder of the club or anything.
It's gonna be
Just,
April
just some
29th,
guy.
and guess what, guys? We're gonna be having, hopefully, Charlie goes through. We have our bill gonna be passed out this week. We're gonna be having a journey through the Middle East and Arab American Heritage Month of that. It's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be on April 29th. Bro, you look so cool. It's April 29th. It's gonna be so fun.
I'm the one who said April 29th first.
I know. It's gonna be April 29th from 11 to. It's gonna be so fire. It's gonna be really cool. You guys should totally pull up. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to deal with this like every week, guys. Oh, goodness.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you both for joining us. And yeah, we're gonna wrap up our podcast. Be sure to follow MENA at is it MENA?
Yeah,
Ohlone?
MENA Ohlone. So
MENA
MENA and then Ohlone on Instagram.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, smash that like
Bye.
button and go subscribe. Yeah.